What's up, everybody? This is Realistic with Realistic Productions doing another tutorial for SoundOracle.net. And today what we're going to do is we're going to go through how to beef up your kicks and add a lot of sub to it by sidechaining a signal generator through it. It's a little bit of a process, but if you bear with me, it's going to work out really well. All right, let's dive in.
All right, so I got Pro Tools open up here, but as I always say, you can do these techniques in any DAW. And if you haven't already and you're capable of doing that right now, go ahead and open up your DAW choice and do this with me. You'll find that you'll learn this a lot better if you follow along versus trying to retain the information for later. So what we're doing today is we're going to beef up some kick drums and add some sub frequencies underneath it using a signal generator. And this is a technique that people used back in the day to create 808s, and it's a technique that people still use today to really just give some good bottom end to a kick drum. Even if you're not going to use this technique too often, if you're a hip hop producer or you do trap music, R&B, I think this is a really good technique to know how to do, just to really understand where your history of those sub frequencies come from and how these really came about, and just really understanding how to create that stuff. So what I got here is I grabbed some samples and loops that I just put together real quick for this video. I got these samples and loops from Ben Trapping 2 that SoundOracle and Trizza released a little while back ago, and I just threw something together, and I really like it. I just wanted to kind of beef it up a little bit, but let's check it out. Yeah, I'm already starting out with really good samples. I always say that's really important to start out with good samples. That way you don't have to try to fix things in the mix too. That's why I get a lot of my stuff from SoundOracle.net, because I can always trust that it's going to be pretty high quality. And I like this kick drum. I think it's really good. I just wanted to add a little bit more of some sub frequencies to it. So what we're going to do is on a mono aux track, we're going to put a signal generator on it. And if you're using Pro Tools, the signal generator is going to be in the Avid folder, and it's going to be signal generator. And you're going to want to make a mono aux track because a signal generator is not going to work in stereo. All right, and as you can see here, we got a couple little different options. We can do a sine, we can do a square, we can do sawtooth, we can do triangle. But for this, we're going to do a sine wave. And we're going to lower this down. All right, and now I've chosen 61 hertz, and I've chosen that for a reason. And the reason being is that with this being a sub frequency, we want to pay attention to the key of our song. And in this case, the key of the song is in B. And so we want to make sure that the frequencies match. And a note is just a frequency. And so there's a couple ways to do this. If you have the FabFilter Pro Q2 and you go ahead and select this piano down below, you'll be able to pull up something that will correspond with what the frequency is to the note. And so if we go to the note B, we see that we're at about 61, and it's the note B. It's low. Now, if you don't have this plugin, there's another thing you can do. You can do a quick Google search for frequency note chart and pull it up, and it will tell you what your notes are to your frequencies. And so there's a couple options that we could do for this key. We could do this low B at 61. 61 is always a really good sub frequency. 60, 62, in between there is always kind of magical. But there's other things we could do too. The fifth of the scale, F sharp, and go 92. That might be a little high, but we can definitely try it out, see what it's about. Or we could go to a lower F sharp, 46. That's an option too. I would probably say that this low B here at 30 might be a little too low, especially a lot of speakers won't be able to get a frequency that low. So what they're going to do is actually just try to keep doubling it to create some harmonic distortion, and that can build up and muddy the mix quite a bit. So what we're going to do is go back here, and we're going to play around with this. And how we're going to do it is we have to put a gate on it. So let's put this back in. Now, any gate will do. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm just going to grab this stock plug in here. And we need to control the gate with the kick drum. The kick drum is going to trigger this gate, and so we're going to sidechain that. So the first thing that we got to do is let the gate know that the signal is going to be received from an outside source. So that's going to go away now, and we need to send this information to it. So I've created a send here, and I named it kick sub so I know where to find it. And if I go here, I'm now in the key input. So now the gate understands that this information from the kick drum is going to control this signal generator. All right, and there's a couple things that we want to pay attention to when it comes to our gate, and one of them is our range. So if I play this, if the range is too high, it's going to come through, right? Even just a little bit there. So we want to make sure that the range is pretty low here. That way nothing's bleeding through when the gate is closed. All right, and another thing to pay attention to is our attack. Now, the attack is how fast the gate opens. So if it's a fast attack, it's going to open fairly quickly, and if it's a slow attack, it's going to open a lot slower. For this purpose, I like to do a slower attack because the fast attack has too harsh of a transient with this signal generator. It gets really clicky and poppy. I'll play that for you. So yeah, I try to go a little bit slower just to kind of ease up on that attack a little bit because we're already pretty good with the transient of the original source of that kick drum. All right, and so then we're also going to want to see how long that we're going to hold and release it. And that's basically how long the gate is going to stay open. So if it's a slow hold or release, the gate's going to stay open a lot longer, almost like an 808. Now, for this sake, though, I'm going to go a little bit shorter because I think that with the kick drum being a little bit shorter, I want to make sure it's slow too. Just in case, too, I want to add like an 808 bass line later. This is just to thicken it up, so I want to correspond with the kick drum pretty well. And then the release will just kind of be the decay there of just how fast or slow it that it dies out. So if it's fast, it's going to be a little bit of a harsher, clicky release there. And if we go just a little bit slower, it should be a little smoother. So, and I'm going to ease up on the hold just a little bit more. All right, so now let's hear that with this kick drum here. Yeah, so I exaggerated it halfway through too, just so that we could hear what it's doing. You can hear that it definitely gives it a nice little beefy bottom end to it. We could experiment with going higher or lower with this. We could try that F sharp here, which I believe was 92. Yeah, that might distract away from what we're trying to do. We can hear it with the rest of the beat, but I feel like it will distract it a little bit. It might be handy if you're looking to really just cut through like iPhone speakers or laptop speakers, but I would probably go a little bit lower than that. And if we check out that lower F sharp, which was 46, we'll hear what that sounds like. It might be just a little too low, but we can try it out. We'll hear it with the beat. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound too bad, but I do want to try out this 61 here. Just stick with the B. I think it's a really good fit. Plus, it's around that magical sub frequency that our ears like to hear a lot. So let's check that out, hear what it sounds like together, and then we'll hear what it sounds like with the beat. Yeah, so I went in and out with the beat just to kind of hear it. You should be able to hear it, just have a little bit more deep end to it, a little bit more beef to it. I'm going to get rid of the sub frequency halfway through, just playing the kick and the sub together here. Here's with it, without it. Yeah, so it definitely adds a nice little bottom end to it. And another thing that we can do too is we can add some distortion to it. You can go like really crazy with it. And so I'll show you example of getting a little wild with it. We'll grab this raw pedal by UAD, give that a sound. You know, this could definitely be a little too much, but it could be a cool feel too if you wanted to try it out. Let's hear what that sounds like. So that's an option. Another option is we could over compress it, which might sound really cool if we just go ahead, solo the frequency out and here and try to get our dial at this in. Let's give that a little listen to. You could add a different type of distortion if you wanted. And you knew I couldn't get through a whole tutorial here without pulling up something FabFilter to use on this. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Saturn here and we'll just see what that sounds like. It could give it a nice cool feel if we add some saturation to it. Here's without. Here's with. Here's without the compressor and the saturation. Here's with them. So let's hear what that sounds like. Kind of lower this a little bit. Yeah, so it definitely helps make the kick drum have more beef to it, more bottom end, a little bit bigger and thicker there. It's a really cool trick. Feel free to play around with this. Honestly, you can use any gate, you can use any signal generator. You're going to find signal generators in Logic, Ableton. You're going to find them in just about any DAW that you can think of, and play around with different types of distortion. You don't have to use the ones that I use today. Decapitator would work. Stock plugins that you find in Pro Tools, Logic, or Ableton will work just fine. The Line 6 stuff and Reason will work really well as too. I think Reason also has some soft tube stuff to check out that can work well. So just try it out, and yeah, hopefully this really helps beef up your kicks.
Alright, so I hope that you found the information in this video useful. So basically what we did was we just put an aux track, we put a signal generator on there, put a gate afterwards, and we controlled the gate with a kick drum so that the sub frequency is only triggered when the kick happens. So again, this is a really good trick to really beef up your kicks. Hopefully you get some use out of it, and if you're liking what you're seeing, feel free to comment below in the comment section. Let us know what kind of tutorials that you want to see in the future, Oracle and I are always trying to give you the content that you want. If you like what you're seeing, you can find me at the web, realisticproductions.net. I'm all over social media at Realistic Productions. You can find SoundOracle everywhere at SoundOracle. And if you're looking for the dopest kick drums, the beefiest 808s, the snares that can really cut through, go to SoundOracle.net. All right.